Hey, if you give me the next 5 minutes in this quick live, I'm going to show you how you can boost conversion rates and basically take the risk out of marketing with feedback loops. And the main point I want to get across here is that winning campaigns are not actually created by marketers. You actually find them. It's like digging for oil. And the person that creates the winning campaign is actually your customer. So this is the way I like to look at it. I like to look at it with a systems thinking point of view. So you have basically this process that is your marketing process. So this is how you're doing your marketing campaigns. All right. And you're going to take lots of inputs here. You're going to take your understanding, that's a brain, your understanding of the customer, your empathy, and some of your best ideas. And that's basically what's going into your input. And these, what does it actually mean? These are going to be your headlines, your hooks. And these are all related from your understanding of the customer, right? And this is how you make your advertisements. Then your campaign has results. Hopefully it has purchases, right? It's got purchases, it's got clicks, it's got scroll rates on pages. You're actually measuring the results of what's happening. And what's really important is that you're making some kind of feedback loop. You're looking at the results and you're using that to update, to feedback your understanding of your campaign and what your input should be. So over here, you have, your actual, that's supposed to be your customer over there. And the way they respond to your campaign affects the campaign. So this should be really, really obvious. Nothing earth-shattering here. But the whole point that I like to make is that, well, how can you guarantee success? The way you can guarantee success is to have absolutely massive feedback. If you have incredible feedback loops and you're really learning consistently from the results and you're learning from the right person, then you can't help but find the right messaging. And so what I want to talk about is, how does this go wrong? So we're trying to get feedback from this customer. But here's what can really go wrong here. Here's a big issue. If your positioning is off, or if you're using low intent messaging. So if your positioning is off, then the wrong people are being attracted, or the when people see the offer and it doesn't make sense to them, they think it's for someone else. And so your target buyer is not actually who you're getting feedback from. If you have low intent messaging, like let's say you have a super organic strategy and you're just like creating an audience, but doesn't include buyers, it's not attracting buyers, then you're going to create, you're going to get feedback on what people like who actually would never buy. So low intent messaging and positioning being off can really break this feedback loop, because you're going to get feedback from the wrong people. Okay, so that is one way that this can fail. Another interesting way that this can fail is the marketing campaign process. So what's happening in this box? If you are basically, so here's another like error place, right? And how should I draw this? Like this. If you are doing kind of a random, like throw spaghetti at the wall, like let's just see what works kind of approach here. If it's not isolated, what does that mean? That means that when you test something, it's a whole lot of stuff at once, and you actually don't understand what is it that's driving the results. So if your marketing campaign is not isolated, and your testing process is like, oh, here's a great idea, let's throw that out there. Here's another great idea, let's try that one out. One of them works, one of them doesn't work. You actually don't know what it was. What was the secret sauce in your results that actually caused the success? So random campaigns, not isolated, testing. This means that your marketing process itself is going to is not going to help you figure out what you need to do over here. What kind of inputs? If it's just like a whole mess together, it's not isolated. It's all confounding variables. So that's another failure mode of your marketing campaign and running a large campaign successfully. We have to find the campaign message that's working. The other really common failure mode is that this whole entire process just takes way too long. So if you have a campaign process and you're saying, okay, we're going to launch this campaign, and then like at the end of the quarter, we're going to see if it works. That's terrible. You should be able to know in 24 hours. If you're able to design things so that in 24 hours, 48 hours, maximum a week. You have an idea if you're on the right track. That's what you need. So the other giant failure mode is the I'm just going to try to draw a stopwatch here. So here's your watch. The other failure mode is that the time that it takes to go around this entire loop is greater than 24 hours. So that's another really common failure mode. So the fixes to all these are basically to do, just inverted thinking. Okay, we need a feedback loop that's 24 hours. We need completely intentional testing that's completely isolated. We need to have dialed in positioning, and you need to have super high intent messaging. If you can get that, then you're going to find a winning campaign. And that's what I want to share with you today on this live.